Hi there folks. So I'm sure by now everyone has heard of the Finsbury Park incident where 47-year-old Darren Osborne drove over a crowd of Muslims in a van. Now I'd like to start off by saying that I condemn this attack. I don't think that the solution to the problem of Islamist terrorism is fighting fire with fire. Now I'm from Northern Ireland and of course I've lived with this network of terror before, and the answer is definitely not fighting violence with more violence. Having said that, I'm not entirely surprised that this is the direction it's going. The government has clearly failed the British people, and so they're now in a position where they feel that they have to take matters into their own hands. Now, believe me when I say I get no pleasure out of this attack, but it is very, very interesting to see what happens when the shoe's on the other foot. And one of the most interesting reactions I've saw to this attack is Sadiq, who famously said beforehand that terrorism is part and parcel of living in a big city. But now that it's Muslims who've been mostly affected by this type of attack, he wants to do something serious to stop it happening again. Just take a listen to the before and after.
I'm not going to speculate as to who was responsible. I'm not going to speculate as to how the police in York should react. What I do know is part and parcel of living in a great global city is you've got to be prepared for these things.
This is a truly horrific terrorist attack on our city, where innocent bystanders were deliberately targeted after returning from the Taraweeh Ramadan prayers. And I want to thank the Commissioner for ensuring that during the course of today and the next few days, Londoners will see an increased number of visible police officers, particularly at and around mosques and places of worship as we approach the holy day of Eid and the last few days of Ramadan.
So now all of a sudden he wants to do something to prevent these attacks from happening in the future. A little bit hypocritical there, isn't it? When his own people are getting affected, now he wants to do something about it. Now, if you're like me and you want to see him get fired, there's a petition you can sign, and I'll leave a link in the description below. Feel free to sign it. Hopefully we can get this guy out of office. But it's not just Sadiq. There are various Islam apologists who previously said that we just need to stand together in solidarity and this problem will magically fix itself whenever a Muslim was committing these attacks. Now that it's a white British national, all of a sudden they demand action. The Muslim Council of Britain said the attack was the most violent incident in a wave of Islamophobic attacks to hit Muslim communities over the past few months, and called for transformative action to tackle not only this incident but the hugely worrying growth in Islamophobia. I mean, honestly, the level of hypocrisy going on here. One white British national commits an attack like this and everyone loses their minds. Islamic extremists commit these sort of attacks for years and it's Islamophobia this, Islamophobia that. Seriously, what is going on here? Jeremy Corbyn responded by saying, a lot of the time people are saying Islamophobia isn't real, but this time it's actually killed someone and injured others. Well, my response to you, Jeremy, is a lot of the time people think Islam is a religion of peace, but a lot of the time it kills a lot of people. Screw you. Now, I want you to listen to what this guy has to say about the incident.
Final question, and what's your message to people who are, both of you, who are maybe angry about this attack and, you know, very disappointed? And what message would you give to people in the Muslim community who might be angry?
I mean, I think they have a right to be angry. With the way the media has reported this issue since last night, calling it, they said the man was drunk, the man was mentally ill. They called it an accident at first, so I think they have the right to be angry. But it's about sort of working together as a community. When the attack first occurred, we had black, white, Asian, Orthodox Jews, Muslims, Christians all coming together, making sure the victims were okay.
That's funny. He says there that they have the right to be angry at this attack. Yet and all, when it's a Muslim who commits one of these attacks, we're told that our anger is exactly what fuels these sort of attacks. But what I find most interesting about this situation is that the Islam apologists are free to wildly speculate about who or what is responsible for this. There's no repercussions. They're not going to be called racists or bigots or Islamophobes for blaming everyone and anyone under the sun. And this allows them to blame people like Tommy Robinson, blame the far right, blame the media, blame the police, or even blame, as this guy done, the Tories for it.
Look, there's been a steady increase in Islamophobic attacks since 7/7, since Woolwich, since the recent attacks in Manchester, London Bridge. And, you know, some may be praising the Prime Minister for calling it out for what it is. but you can't really state anything otherwise. This was a clear attack against the Muslim community. And I think the likes of Theresa May and the Conservative Party have played a significant and key role in creating that environment where there is a huge suspicion and distrust amongst the Muslim community.
Of course, the hypocrisy here being that whenever someone tries to speculate as to why a Muslim might commit one of these attacks, we're instantly branded an Islamophobe and the conversation is shut down. This attack has shown us that the British people no longer feel that they can be protected by the government, and so they feel that they have to take matters into their own hands. I don't believe in the whole fighting violence with violence approach, but I do think that vigilante justice is going to become the new norm as people feel let down by their government. Now, there's two more stories that I wanted to talk about, and I didn't want to dedicate an entire video to them, so I just thought I'd tag them on to the end of this one. The first one is that a van driver has died after migrants set up a roadblock near Calais. It's a common occurrence for migrants to set up roadblocks in the middle of the night, forcing vans or lorries to stop so that they can then board the back of them to get passage into the UK. So what's happened this time is that, as you saw in one of the clips there, sometimes they set these branches and logs on fire, and this time it set the van on fire as well, and the drivers died as a result, unfortunately. So they're not just a nuisance anymore, they're actually downright dangerous. And yet the European Union just keeps letting them all in. It doesn't care about the crime that these people bring with them because it has an ideology to satisfy. And the final story that I wanted to briefly touch on was Germany's Parliamentary Defence Commissioner Hans-Peter Bartels, who said that an EU army is inevitable. So his statement comes after concerns about the reliability of the NATO alliance. I've said before that I think that the European Union is trying to provoke Trump into withdrawing funding for NATO so that they would have an excuse to start an EU army, and this guy seems to be confirming what I thought. In a quote to the Telegraph, he said, "We are currently disorganised, technically fragmented and duplicate structures unnecessarily. We do not want to go down the solidarity national path anymore, not in Germany, not in the Netherlands, not in the Czech Republic and not in Italy. In the end, there will be a European Union army." And to me, that's very, very concerning because of their hawkish and warlike mind. As I've pointed out in a previous video, Guy Verhofstadt seems itching to get into the Middle East, and I wouldn't be surprised if all the other European Union leaders felt the same. Feel free to leave a comment below, and thanks for watching.